Welcome to Haaseline Entertainment, Revelation of the Spirit. It's been a while since we've been talking. Lots of stuff going on, so we've been busy. But wanted to just kind of talk through some things that are going on in the marketplace, and things that we're seeing might be helpful. Any of you that are listening or watch this if you want to come on the show and chat a little bit about business and what's going on as far as retail media, in-store marketing, packaging, um, AI, and just a lot of the things that are going on with mergers, um, and just the challenge of how brands are having to basically fight off a plethora of content and things to figure out in the marketplace. It's an exciting time to have a brand, and it's an exciting time to be a agency. And again, in the content world, there is so much content to filter through. We hope that some of you will give us a buzz here at Hotline Entertainment and help you kind of guide that ship. But one of the things I wanted to talk about was the fact that I'm not seeing a whole lot of in-store and really creative packaging. Um, and when I say packaging, more on the promotional side. It's amazing how everything, and I get it. So I think if you've listened to any of my past remarks, that the digital side and the technology world that we live in, we're pretty much on our phones, phone addicts, for lack of a better word, and on our computers, our laptops, streaming, getting information, emails galore on things we're interested in, webinars, everything, and of course AI is probably the eating up the bulk of that. But one thing that it's doing is it's basically feeding a digital marketing piece that doesn't bode well to those retailers that have brick and mortar, or even your brands that sell in brick and mortar. I think the whole online marketplace is still a fascinating place, but to me, we all know that the big dog in town on online sales is Amazon, and nobody benefits more from the strategy, and everybody has to get in the strategy, but nobody benefits more from online marketing and online promotional work and taking people from packaging or from the retail experience at brick and mortar and pushing them online. Amazon wins every time. We used to say it in Nabisco, um, when we went in and talked to buyers, that we did the bulk of the advertising. And yes, it brings people to that category. And of course, this is the online category that we're talking about. In the cookie and cracker world, we knew that there was a certain amount of advertising, certain amount of promotional work that we did that was just going to benefit the category. And of course, with category management, we played that, but didn't necessarily mean that all the great things that we did with retailtainment, this is 15, 20 years ago, or any of our national advertising that was going to guarantee a Nabisco purchase. The same way that you advertising and doing all this work in the online um, world, that means that they're going to be buying from your store or buying your product. It just lends to the one who's the giant in the industry, and that's Amazon. So it's a confusing thing. It's certainly something that I'm sure other retailers like Walmart, Kroger, Target are all having to deal with, because the online business is so important. Online ordering and home delivery is becoming more and more a piece, but I don't think it's ever going to replace brick and mortar. I could be wrong on that. Not in my lifetime, I don't see it happening though. So for brands, I think it's amazing when I look at some of the packaging. It's almost like, really, to be honest with you, other than sampling, the online promotional experience is almost vaporized, and that that's literally what we do at Haaseline Entertainment. So when you're ready to get back and have those FOMO retailtainment events, give us a buzz. But even the packaging is moving from here's the packaging, here's a QR code. So we're going to take you away from the package, which you bought, and that's the brand, and we're going to send you to some online site to play a game or do something else. There's nothing wrong with that, but I'm going to go back a little bit to it's funny, I've just been rewatching The Sopranos, and of course, that's a older TV show, but it's amazing. You still have some old school, and I think it still exists, obviously, and would exist more, where people used to eat their cereal in the morning and then read the cereal box. So it was why, in-packs and on-pack marketing there was so important. I don't think it's necessarily gone away. I just think brands have let it go away. So there's a lot of things to be talking about in that experience. And if you are a marketer, you certainly need to get back to that, at least thinking about it and understanding it and understanding what it drives. When it comes to packaging, I don't think it really, I mean, obviously it's a cost factor to change packaging depending on the length and breadth of the promotion, though. I don't think I think the juice is worth the squeeze. Now, one of the things that is happening is right now you're probably seeing a ton of discounts. We just had our Black Friday, which starts now in October for all we know, and we see that we have the Cyber Monday, which is still going on and will continue. I mean, I get a million emails that say we're extending the deal. So, but I think here's one thing that we need to be concerned about is the consumer with these deals is you've trained them now just to look for deals and they expect the deals. It's not about it being Q4 and Christmas and New Year's and the holidays. They're going to expect it in January, February, throughout the year. So it's almost like discounts has be where price advantages were something that the consumer um, made decisions on. It's becoming less and less a decision maker. So promotion has an opportunity. Again, whether it's digital or whether it's in the store, in the brick and mortar, on the floor, where the action's happening, as we say, where you're aisles away from your product versus miles away, the opportunity to get back into that arena. And I don't think you have to get back into that arena the way that, personally, I was doing it a long time ago, where you're spending millions and millions of dollars. But I think there's a big opportunity to reinvent what you did in the past. Go back and ask some old brand managers that had that brand, what you did 15, 20 years ago, and then um, how, how do you re-energize what you're doing digitally for your brand, and do a couple in-store promotions that will activate what's going on. Now, I know the retailers, the first thing they'll say to you is, spend your money with us. We'll energize everybody. We bring people into the store. Well, there's no doubt about it. Retailers do bring people into their stores, but you're the one that brings them to your brand. And if you're going to rely on the retailer to do that, you may want to think about that spend that's out there. So let's talk a little bit about value adds. And I think that when it comes to actual promotions, there are value adds in how you build those promotions. And I'll give you an example of company I used to work for, and I've recently seen them do a promotion with Stranger Things. We'll just kind of use that as an example. Obviously, they're on their last season. Netflix has done a really good job of marketing three segments of shows and then a finale on December 31st, which I think is amazing because it has a huge audience. They're actually releasing that last episode in theaters also. So instead of New Year's becoming just, whatever. And if you think about it, it's really a great strategy because Wicked last year, the movie Wicked, released its digital version on December 31st, made it almost like a day going into the new year, or at least that day and New Year's, a time to buy that digitally and spend that time with your family. And Netflix, I think, has grabbed a little bit taste of that from last year, what Universal did with Wicked, and they're doing that with Stranger Things. But Chips Ahoy did an interesting game online. They had two. They did it with the Chips Ahoy brand. So on their large package, they had a QR code that took you to the game where you could win prizes. And then they had a special strawberry flavored inside cream on a chocolate cookie Chips Ahoy. That was a special in and out product for the last season. Now Nabisco has or Mondelez has been famous for jumping on board at the end of these rallies. If you remember, they did the Game of Thrones Oreo on the last episode, which was a brilliant idea. I don't know. Again, I don't have wasn't involved in any of these promotions, so I don't know the cost factor in it. And there might have been none if they were smart. But you also have to say to yourself, and I've always talked about getting in on the in when when these brands and these IPs are not necessarily at their peak. Imagine had you been a brand that was starting off with Stranger Things and Netflix, on season one, where you would be on season five. And I think that's an interesting thing for brand managers and marketing directors to look at and say, is that a smart move? I see in different areas where that is. And certainly that's something that we can help you on and guide you on what's the right strategy for that and what's the right property. Because coming in early, and if you read a lot of what the studios are saying now, and this is not new news, it's just regenerated ideas, is that getting in on the ground floor and letting you come in and be part of the creation of that show or of that IP allows you to do more things with product placement, really thinking through a longer strategy with that IP. And there are some definite advantages with that. And of course, as you know, the digital second release of an IP of a movie of a TV show, is another breath of fresh air to continue that relationship the way we used to do it when we had a movie and. I hate to use the word VHS or CD or Blu-ray or whatever. You got a second kick on that when that released. That marketplace has shrunk amazingly, so you see a lot of that streaming being bought on Apple, Prime, Movies Anywhere, those sites. One of my favorites is Fandango Home. And so there's a lot of places where you can partner and take that promotion and that relationship, that partnership, and build it across numerous entertainment sites for your brand. But those are some things to think about. I think it's going to be a challenging year in 2026, and I hope whether it's with us or with another company or with another agency, that you think about a brick and mortar strategy. It seems to be a dinosaur today, and I think it's time to revisit those things. Also in the news, just to talk about it real quick, is the sale of Warner Brothers Discovery, which I think is very interesting what it does in the marketplace for entertainment marketing. Obviously, Netflix has a bid that they have claimed that they have bought Warner Brothers Discovery, and now there's potentially a hostile takeover from Paramount Skydance that's being looked at. And so this should be interesting with all the laws that are on there and some of the screams from Hollywood of Netflix owning the streaming industry by acquiring HBO Max. There's some concern there. I don't really get the concern. I mean, I get the concern, but you know, Netflix has done a marvelous job of being who they are in the industry, and I don't think they should be penalized for that. On the flip side, it's a probably a better fit with Paramount Skydance, although that's a mega, mega, mega organization. But with some of the news pieces that are on there, and certainly maybe Netflix is looking to spin that off and get rid of that. Doesn't make sense unless they want to get into that side of the business. It'll be interesting where it goes. I have no problem with any of that. I mean, there's a lot of people freaking out. I mean, obviously, if you work for those companies, there's a concern about consolidation. I've lived through so many of those in my lifetime. It's just I don't worry about stuff like that anymore. And of course, there's a lot of concern. In fact, let me just say this: with all those concerns about this merger or this buyout, the industry certainly and everybody has much more uh, needs to spend much more time on concerns with AI. This AI piece is going to be interesting in the entertainment business, and it's already causing some concern at SAG and a lot of different places. And I understand. I can feel your pain. AI, just like the internet, just like anything else, has its place. But if it gets out of hand, it can really become another distraction. To those of us who value what we're doing in the marketplace and how we're, extending better content, better promotions, um, better packaging, better brands to the consumer. And I think most of us who are watching this is that group. So anyway, I want to wish from Haaseline Entertainment a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and certainly a Happy New Year going into 2026. It's going to be an exciting, exciting year. There's so many things going on within these mergers, within these things in the entertainment business. There's also a lot of things that are going on in the value-added community as far as ingredients. We're seeing a lot of protein plus products like Pop-Tarts, and you'll see this in the salty snack arena, and you'll see that continue to grow with supplemental uh, good value adds in ingredients with products. So, and the private label industry continues to powerhouse at major retailers. In the grocery industry, certainly is latest. It's been up to 21 to 25% of retailers' business. So that's just going to continue. There's a lot of retailers out there. I won't mention them, but they're strategically pulling a lot of their what has been given to some other companies to be and figure out their private labels now being brought in-house so that they can have a better handle on it, certainly make it more profitable to them since that segment of the food and CPG industry is growing. So again, lots of exciting things. Best to everyone that's listening to this. If you have a need, whether it's just a consulting need or a more strategic need on what you're doing, or building relationships out there in the marketplace with IPs that aren't only just one and done, but the right IP for the right situation for your brand that not only grows a relationship with a long franchise, but also gives you some great partnerships with non-competing brands. We'd like for you to check us out and give us a buzz. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Best during the holidays. Be safe and spend some time with your families, and we'll see you next time.